If you were to go up to random people on the street and ask them what their favorite game is, you'll get a variety of different answers.
Oh, you gotta give him that hawk too.
One game that is bound to come up a lot is Skyrim. Skyrim is one of the most popular and acclaimed games of all time. It has sold an eye-widening 60 million copies and has an average score of 9.5 out of 10, if my calculations are correct. It is certainly one of the video games of all time, and to call yourself a gamer without having ever played it is like calling yourself a police officer and you've only arrested white people. It's a disservice to the actual professionals. Seriously, if you call yourself a gamer and you've never played Skyrim, you're a fucking idiot. Like, come on, get your shit together. Okay, yes. As I hinted at in my previous video, I have never played Skyrim before. This probably has to do with the fact that it came out when I was 11 and I only had a Wii. Quick side note, Skyrim on the Wii would be pretty fucking cool. And I just never played it. I've tried thinking of a good excuse, like I was busy fighting in Afghanistan or something, but nothing's really come to mind. I've just never played it. So I thought, what better time than now to dive into the world of Skyrim, close to its 13th birthday. And no, Drake, you can't fuck Skyrim, okay?
It's been a long fight. It's been a long fight, and I just had to have a warrior spirit.
And seeing why it is so beloved. To call the intro of Skyrim iconic would be an insult to the word. Even though I've never touched a game before this, I know of the infamous, hey, you're finally awake moment. Probably because it's been memed to death for the past 14 years.
Hey, you're finally woke. You were trying to hop the border, right? Gridded right into that Imperial Mog, same as us. And that beta over there.
Apart from being memed, this intro carriage ride does an excellent job of laying some major building blocks for Skyrim's world. Within 5 minutes, you know that there is turmoil within Skyrim thanks to the rebellion of the Stormcloaks against the Empire, and that Ulfric, the great Jarl of Windhelm, is their leader. This perfectly sets up the two sides of the Civil War plotline that is a major theme throughout your playthrough. Now, when it came to creating my character, I decided to go with a Nord race because I thought that would give me the best baseline Skyrim experience. You know, how Bethesda intended for you to play. The other races look cool and fun to play with, but I feel like they're for returning players who want to experiment with storylines and gameplay, not for someone playing the game for the very first time. So the Nord Michael Jackson was born. Aptly named because of his light and dark skin face.
Got a light-skinned friend, look like Michael Jackson. Got a dark-skinned friend, look like Michael Jackson.
After some more exposition, you're thrown straight into the action when out of nowhere, a dragon attacks. Not only is the spectacle pretty good for a 14-year-old game, it lays down another major building block for Skyrim's world. Dragons, after having not been seen for centuries, are back, baby! Even though this intro mission is very handholdy, I think it succeeds in teaching the player the basic mechanics and lore of Skyrim. After you choose who to follow, I chose Hadvar because he seems like a chill guy trying to do his best in some pretty fucking insane circumstances. Have a nice little dinner date, the intro is over, and that's when Skyrim's world truly opens up and your grand adventure begins. The world of Skyrim is absolutely incredible. It just has this vibe to it that makes it so fun to play. It is your typical medieval fantasy world, you know, one with towns and cities made out of wood, stone and straw, with crude brickwork throughout revealing just how far behind, say, our modern technology this faraway land is. It feels like the land of Skyrim itself has been around for a millennium, but only recently has civilization and towns popped up. The towns and cities are where the majority of Bethesda's effort went, I reckon. They all feel so alive, with hundreds of people you can interact with and get quests from. More on that later. Each with their own unique personality, routine, and background. Seriously, the amount of writing needed to make these cities feel this alive would have had to have been astronomical. Think of the biggest number you can think of. To Whiterun, Solitude, Riften, Winterfell, All these cities have unique personalities and histories that the player feels when visiting them. I think Bethesda designed the intro of Skyrim beautifully to showcase this exact thing to the player. Making your way down from Helgen to Riverwood, you go down this very scenic path, cutting through wooded areas and grassy hills, mountains just looming off in the background. Riverwood is an idyllic location, a perfect place to show off what the smaller towns scattered throughout Skyrim are all about. Chillin', talking to residents, hanging out the bar getting tips, and just enjoying your time in this world. Whiterun is a bit different, both in looks and in size. It is this massive city sitting alone atop of rocks in the middle of a field essentially, jutting out against the rest of the landscape. There is so much to do and see in the city alone. It feels like its own little world, filled with unique town politics, stories, and lore. Just like the walk to Riverwood, the walk to Whiterun is designed brilliantly. Once the wooded areas stop and the landscape opens up, all you can see is Whiterun, sitting proudly alone. And you just know you need to go there. And so you go, making your way through little farms scattered around the city, encountering even more unique citizens and situations. Oh, the ambient music. The ambient music playing in the background making the walk that much better. Oh my god, do not get me started on the music of Skyrim. Seriously, don't. I apologize. Jeremy Soule saw the gameplay of Skyrim and was like, you know what this game needs? Just one of the best and most iconic video game soundtracks ever made. Skyrim's music has no business going this fucking hard, dude. Seriously. The main theme is probably up there with Mario's and Halo's in terms of how iconic and recognizable it is. It plays throughout the main menu of the game, and if I'm being honest, I've just sat there countless times just listening to this music, vibing to it, not wanting to do anything to interrupt it. Like, no Bethesda, I don't want to play your stupid little video game, I just want to listen to this music, dude. It gives you this immense feeling of power and strength while listening to it. Sort of like you're going to be playing as a strong and powerful character throughout the game. The use of a choir not only makes the track more epic, but it gives it this medieval and barbarian feel. Sort of like you're going to be playing a game set in those time periods. Now, this may be a hot take. Don't freaking cancel me, guys. But I think the ambient soundtrack is way better than the main theme of Skyrim. It is a lot slower paced than the main theme, which gives you this sense of peace while exploring. The mix of flutes, strings, and guitars gives it this medieval and fantasy feel. Sort of like you're going to be playing a medieval/fantasy video game. I remember hearing the Secunda track for the first time. I'd only ever heard it in the background of YouTube videos. So when I heard it whilst exploring, I had to do a double take and was like, fuck, no way this is from Skyrim. I guess that shows how much of a loser I am. I know it from YouTube and not, one of the most popular games of all time, but that's another point you can discuss with my parents. The ambient soundtrack makes walking through Skyrim's world a blast, and it works perfectly in tandem with the ambient sound design to make Skyrim's world feel truly alive. You will hear some of the classic ambient sound design choices, like crickets, birds, leaves rustling, wind blowing, trees creaking. The wind sound effect is what really grabbed my attention. It just has this chill to it, which constantly reminds the player they are exploring a mountainous and rugged region. When you head into one of the hundreds of caves scattered throughout Skyrim, the wind chill sound effect is still there, but it's now in the background and is muted. This makes the caves feel like this safe place from the harsh conditions of the outside world, and that coupled with the crackling of torches makes it feel like this warm little place you can shelter in. Exploring these caves is where you'll discover what Bethesda does better than any other developer, I reckon: environmental storytelling. It feels like every cave, dungeon, ruin, tower, or house has its own unique story for you to discover, either through reading journals or what the environment itself is saying. For example, there was this mine I entered that was filled with water and dead bodies. So, instinctively I thought, something must have happened, like an explosion must have gone off to make the mine flood, and these people died while trying to escape. But then you get to the top and realize that a group of bandits have taken the mine over and have been killing people and chucking them down this trapdoor into the water below. It is a perfect example of presenting an image to the player, letting their imagination come up with a story around that image, and then further along, giving them even more context to allow them to actually discover what the narrative of this place is. Skyrim is filled with literally hundreds of examples like this. It makes you want to explore every cave, dungeon, ruin, tower, or house, just to make sure you don't miss out on anything. You see a cave on the minimap, enter it, kill some enemies, find some loot, read some journals, exit. You see a tower on the minimap, enter it, kill some enemies, find some loot, read some journals, exit. You see another cave on the minimap, enter it, kill some enemies, find some loot, read some journals, exit. You see a ruin on the minimap, you enter it, you kill some enemies, you find some loot, you read some journals, you exit. You see a mine on the minimap, enter it, kill some enemies, find some loot, read some journals, exit. Wait, am I not having fun with Skyrim? Alright, this is snake territory, so hopefully the shot is worth it. And don't worry about what's in there. It's just the bodies of my victims, alright? After about 20 hours of playtime in Skyrim, I just felt I wasn't enjoying it as much as I hoped. This feeling had to do with some pretty major gripes I have with the game. Let's start off with my main gripe. This little fucking compass thing that is stuck in the middle of your screen throughout your entire time playing. This little thing has become my worst enemy, to the point where I want to turn it off completely. But, of course I can't, because it's a Bethesda game, and that would be too easy. The reason I despise this compass is that it completely ruins exploration for me, and in an open world game, that should be high on the list of things you have fun with. The compass shows you essentially everything in your vicinity, and I mean everything, from quest items to towns and main cities to points of interest to enemies. Everything that you could possibly need to beat Skyrim is shown to you on this compass. Now because of this, you never organically explore Skyrim's world. You just follow the compass, rain, hail, or dragon attack. This makes the open world feel like filler essentially. Just space for you to walk through to get to the next point on the compass. Here's how exploration in Skyrim goes. Okay, let's go to the quest item. Wait, the compass is telling me there is a cave nearby. Well, I don't want to miss out on anything, so I'll go to it while I'm here. Okay, done. Wait, is that a town that the compass is telling me is nearby? Fuck, let's go to that now instead. Okay, done. Back to the quest. Wait, the compass is telling me that there is another point of interest nearby. Let's go to that. Do you see what I'm talking about? I know there are cool locations to be found throughout Skyrim, but I just never found them myself. I was just following the compass. Exploration should be organic, guided by the player's curiosity and want to discover every little secret of the world. It shouldn't just be going from location to location, following points of interest presented to you by the game. It is a rather basic way of handling exploration, and unfortunately that basicness has trickled down into the combat as well. Now I went for a full strength build, probably because that's how Michael Jackson famously was in real life. And I will admit, that might be why combat was basic to me. But my thing is, if it works, and boy did it work, why should I have to change the way I play in order to have fun with your video game? All I ended up doing in any combat situation was spam R2, rain, hail, and especially dragon attack. Fully decked out in a heavy armor set, there was no need for me to change my playstyle or try different things like block or cast spells when I could just tank so much damage while giving out heaps to the enemies. Not only was it basic, but it felt like there was just no weight behind my swings. Swinging a massive warhammer that weighs like fucking 40 kilos should feel different than swinging a dagger that weighs like 40 grams. But apart from faster and different attack animations, there was really no difference at all. I think Rasputin summed it up best.
Melee feels floaty and unresponsive, making it so landing a hit doesn't even feel satisfying. And as enemy AI is pretty bare bones, fights largely boil down to just spamming the attack button in the hopes you'll outdamage whatever you're going against.
Going from the combat in Bloodborne, some of the most fun and engaging gameplay I've ever experienced, to the combat in Skyrim, where I just turned my brain off and spam R2, was shocking to say the least. Let's finish off my point about the quests now, shall we? Basically every single quest in Skyrim boils down to talk to the quest giver, go to this location, kill some enemies, loot everything, read every single book you can, get the quest item, go back to the quest giver, talk to them, boom, you're done. The world-class writing does make some of them fun and interesting to play, but when the bones of the quests are the same and you've already done 30 of them, what's the point of doing 30 more when you know exactly what you're gonna get? I know it is a 13-year-old game at this point, but it just feels so outdated. I feel like I've done these quests thousands of times before in other open world games. It's like eating a steak every day. No matter how you try to make it different, add different sauces, add different ingredients, cook it differently. At the end of the day, it is still a steak. You're going to get sick and tired of it because of how often you're eating a steak. Or, in this case, playing another open world game with the same types of basic fetch quest design that you've done a billion times before. I know it may be hard to believe now, but at one point in history, the most famous and successful film genre was the Western. During the 1940s and 60s, the Westerns dominated at the box office, and they were even produced at a greater rate than any other film genre combined, which is just crazy. They call it the golden age of Westerns for a reason, and some absolute classics were released during this time. The Searchers, High Noon, The Magnificent Seven, Shane, and my personal favourites, anything that Sergio Leone directed. However, after a certain point, no matter how good the films being produced were, Westerns suffered from audience exhaustion and oversaturation in the market. When statistically, the majority of films being produced are from the same genre and follow the same storytelling tropes with the same characters and settings and actors, audiences are going to get sick and tired of seeing the same thing essentially. This led to Westerns dying out. And although there have been some small revivals thanks to some incredible filmmakers putting their own spin on the genre, it has failed to reach its golden age heights of the 1940s and 60s in popularity and success. Now I say all of this to say, I think this is where open world games are headed. They are some of the most popular games being made today. I mean, look at how many views, videos speculating on what the best open world games coming out in 2025 or 26, depending on when this video comes out, get. Like, it's insane. Gamers are obsessed, and for good reason. They allow for easy immersion, and unlike online games, you don't have 12-year-old sweats killing you like I just fucking killed that fly every 12 seconds. So you can just sit back, relax, crack open a cold one, and enjoy exploring these open worlds. However, because they are so popular, like the Westerns of the 40s and 60s, there comes a point when gamers will get sick and tired of seeing essentially the same thing. For me, that point has already been reached. And I know I can't be the only one. Like, I can't be the only one who sees the new Ubisoft open world game and thinks, well, looks like the same old Ubisoft shit, just with a different coat of paint. I will not be tricked into buying this one this time, Ubisoft, okay? They all follow the same gameplay path and loop that was invented before Skyrim and hasn't been changed since. I don't think I can climb any more towers, discover any more places to fast travel to later because you want to skip exploring the open world, and doing the same basic fetch quest design that I've done 1,000 times before. Even replaying games I adore, I am feeling this sense of staleness and exhaustion. Ghost of Tsushima is an incredible game, but essentially every single quest is watch this cutscene, go to this place, kill these enemies, go to another place, kill some more enemies, watch this cutscene, boom, you're done. And when there are so many quests like this that you can't even count them on a fucking abacus, I think that's what it's called, it is hard not to feel like you were doing the same shit over and over and over and over again. The game I played before starting Skyrim was Astrobot, and let me tell you, that game is incredible. Although, I don't think you need me to tell you that considering it just won Game of the Year. The sheer variety, inventiveness, and originality present through every single second of your playthrough is a breath of fresh air to say the least. Going from that game, where every single level is unique and a blast to play, to Skyrim, where every cave, dungeon, tower, ruin is the same apart from a few visual and narrative tweaks, was so shocking. I've reached my breaking point with open world games. I need to take a long break from them in order to refresh and get back into them. Dude, I'm so desperate, I might start playing League. No, I will never be that desperate. If you see me playing League, just know I've been assassinated by the CIA, and that's an imposter, okay? Of course, there are going to be some open world games that I play. If you don't think I'm playing GTA 6 on release, you are quite literally clinically insane. But if Ubisoft or EA or another developer releases another generic open world game, I would definitely be giving it a miss. I just wish I'd played one of those games to come to this realization and not Skyrim. Like, why couldn't I have played Star Wars Outlaws or Far Cry 6 or fucking Saints Row 5 or 6 or whatever it is? Why did I have to start playing Skyrim now? Fuck. I think once I emerge from my open world slumber, I will definitely give Skyrim another go. It is too much of a classic for me not to try again. And hey, you never know, maybe Elder Scrolls 6 will be right around the corner then, and I can experience exploring that open world with the rest of the gaming community. And this time, I will have fun while doing so. Thanks for watching. Bye.